Look, I have a little dog here with me. He's like
Oh
scratching me
yes.
the whole time.
What's his name?
Bear, because he looks like a bear.
A
So,
bear. Yes.
Nerd Reactor, roll out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know where to start because your career, video games. Because we got the email sent out to me like to pitch the idea of you talking about video game movies and all that. But you've directed video game movies, and it's a whole thing. It's like you know.
and they got hotter now back, right? Look, video game movies were so out, and now
Yeah,
they're hot again. You know,
yeah.
so everybody talks about it, and um, the recent hits of Super Mario and stuff like this.
Oh
So
yeah, Super
The Last
Mario.
of Us and stuff. You know, who thought that a video game will make it to even a TV series like The Last of Us and stuff like this? Yeah.
Let's start with you as a person, as a because you have to like video games, doing all these video game movies, playing them. It's like now, what are you playing?
Oh God. Now only a slave from my kids.
Uh
So
huh.
they, of course, they play Fortnite nonstop and Minecraft. You know, Zelda. I normally play with them FIFA, just playing soccer against each other, and
Yeah.
I'm a little out of everything basically, but they are addicted to it, and yeah, it's the thing. Like, you know, in all that years, there was always that discussion: is it unhealthy to play so long and whatever, doing tournaments? My older son is 14. He plays even tournaments and in Fortnite and stuff like this. Yeah, but also I think it's better to play a game as to just watch TikTok videos or something. You know, I mean, you're at
Yeah.
least more active and you have to react to things, and you cannot just be passive, just watching something.
That's kind of like me too, where there's esports is huge, but for me personally, I would rather play the game. And yeah, Fortnite's fun. I've been playing that too, and but so many games.
I
But
spent so
I'll
much money on Fortnite for I mean, it's just that was so clever how they launched that game, and you know, and then you keep spending on the action packs, the skins, and whatever. Like, you can just keep spending, and overall, I would say at least $1,500, $2,000 per year. I throwed at that game the last
yeah.
6 years or 7 years. I don't even know when it came out. How long is it on? Like 6 years, 5, 6 years?
Probably I don't know the exact year, but it's video games now have become like a service with battle passes and all that. But
Yeah.
we can talk about more about that later. Well, I want to do it right now. Let's rewind back in time to like you starting as a filmmaker and then also doing video game adapted movies because you've done House of the Dead, Alone in the Dark, BloodRayne, a lot of that stuff. And so, what was that like back then, trying to get these projects to actually finally doing them? Like, how did it make you feel? Like, even whether the receptions, good or bad, and all that. Like for you, just working on this, what was that like?
I mean, it started with House of the Dead, and Mindfire Entertainment. They approached me with the script, with the game rights. They did a deal with Sega already, and so I jumped on that project. I like zombie films in general, so, and I felt, why not? And I mean, I knew House of the Dead from the arcade, just shooting and playing with it. So I felt, okay, let's do an overload crazy zombie film, how it is in the game, where we shoot a lot of zombies, a lot of special effects, a lot of blood and gore, and we had the Matrix set up and everything. And besides not so good reviews, Sega liked the film, and it actually made good money. I mean, in the box office, it did 11 million, but it made 28 million on DVD sales. So that was massive. And so I looked out for more properties, like what games are maybe different. And so Alone in the Dark came next. Um, And that was kind of a good and a bad experience, because I got first time like real film stars like Christian Slater, Stephen Dorff, Tara Reid playing in it. But Atari at that point, and Infogrames, they were together, and they dropped a new development of the game. The idea was, when my film comes out, a new game comes out, and that never happened. So when the movie came out, everybody said, what's the story? It has nothing to do with the story from the game. And I said, yeah, the idea was that the game comes out with that story, but then they dropped the game. So that was a little bad, but I still continued with Dungeon Siege, Far Cry, Postal, BloodRayne. So I did a lot of these films, and I feel like you connect to the whole world with it. I mean, that was they were sold worldwide in every country. Was it in China in the movie theaters, in India in the movie theaters, Korea, everywhere. And you felt like, okay, I did dramas before, nobody watched them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, if you can pick, you get a bad review, but you have a film running everywhere. You do the film what is shown everywhere, right? So, and that is why I did so many of the movies, and I don't regret it. And I think, in a way, it was also the time where the first Underworld came, the first Resident Evil came. It was this kind of, it started slowly, and then over the years, it was this kind of like the little brother of the comic book movies, nothing else. You know, they were a little smaller, a little slower, but the budget was not so high as in the Spider-Man, Batman, and all that tentpole films.
As a filmmaker, what was your drive to like, okay, let's get this done, let's get this project done? Like, was it easy? Because you mentioned like how the studios would come, and then did you have to like try to pitch yourself, like, this is the idea, and they're like, all right, let's do it?
Basically, you know, I mean, that is another thing. If you have a video game property, it's a hot commodity, right? So they know that game is around for 10 years or whatever. It had like 3, 4, 5 installments already, and you have this kind of IP, you know, what other people with an original idea don't have. And it's a higher risk to just make a film based on an idea, or you make a film based on a comic book, based on a big bestseller or a video game. So it was always easier to open the market and to get the money to make this kind of films. I personally looked out that I don't do the same movie over and over again. You know, I felt like, if you're like the Paul Anderson guy doing Resident Evil, I would be bored, because I cannot do 7 times the same thing. And so I tried, like, Dungeon Siege is more like epic Lord of the Rings style, and Alone in the Dark is more this sci-fi creature, BloodRayne, classical vampire stuff. So I always try to change genres and to be not like doing the same movie. That was important for me. Otherwise, you just, I think, delivering, and you're not into it anymore after you did so many of them.
And I think with just you making those at the time, it's been I would say, an exciting time as video game fans, because you like to just create a lot of just crazy excitement, or whatever you want to call it. Like, especially the boxing stuff, right? Like, you had critics and you called them out. And so, like, what was that like then? Just your mindset, like, yeah, let's bring out all the critics.
Maybe look at the situation now with Logan Paul and whatever, right? Now you have celebrity boxing YouTube stars going in the ring to everybody. So I basically did this first. So you know, and I called that reviewers out. I felt, look, guys, you are not like fair to me, and then you should fight me if you really hate me so much. And that is what we did in Vancouver in the Plaza of Nations. There were like 1,500 paying people in the around the ring, and it was live streamed and stuff like this, and it was a blast. I think also all the reviewers also later when I talked to them, they visited the set from Postal at that point. I shot the film Postal, and I think they changed a little their opinion about me.
Yeah.
Because it's this kind of like, it's easy to trash a film, but it's hard to make a film. And you should at least have the respect, like, even if it's not a good film, you still, as a reviewer, I think, should have the respect that people put effort in it and money in it and time in it, you know, and not be totally disrespectful. And I felt at that point they were very disrespectful to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, a lot of filmmakers, they don't try to, it's not, you're not in their mindset, I want to make like the worst film ever, right? Like, it's like you're still working out there, trying to make it fun for yourself, like a fun experience, and then hopefully people will like it. And that was an exciting time though. And then afterwards, there's like a time like you stopped doing films, and then you decided what, restaurants?
Yes, I had a sports bar, and I had a high-end German restaurant in Vancouver. And at Corona time, we closed. So then we moved to Germany. It was like, now the restaurant business for me is over. But it was a very a good and a bad experience, right? So because on a restaurant, you're on the whole time. It's like it never ends. It's like shooting a film, but never stop like never ending shooting the film and never finishing the film. And that is the good thing with, I think, in the movie business, you do a project, and when it's done, it's done. And then you have a DVD sitting in your shelf, but it's not work anymore. And a restaurant is this ongoing drama. And you have, of course, especially in the big cities, I think every restaurateur has this now, a shortage of people, right? So you don't find enough staff. Then you have a lot of fluctuation. Like, as soon you have your kitchen brigade able to cook the whole stuff, and then half of them quit, then new cooks coming, they have to learn. And you have the nonstop, this kind of like, for the chefs, like a stress environment. And the waiters, they're always flaky, you know, sometimes they come, sometimes not. Then they move to different restaurants. They're saying, oh, I get more tips there, I'm gone. And that is all like, as the owner of a restaurant, that is tough, because it's so easy to get trashed with a bad review of a restaurant on TripAdvisor or whatsoever. And then people, we shouldn't go there, just read a bad review or something. So it's hard. It's a very hard business. I have a big respect for people now who have restaurants, successful restaurants, and even handle more as one. Yeah. I mean, like, there are people that have like 20 restaurants across the globe or more, and you feel like, how can they do this? So they need a perfect management, like a real streamlined kind of management and cost controlling and stuff like this.
Oh yeah. But that's I appreciate that, like you like opening up, and then you respect them more. So it's all about like, getting your hands dirty, trying it out, and knowing what it's like, especially on the creative side compared to, let's say you mentioned, TripAdvisor and critics, where people just blast it. So it's like, it's easy to do that because we're in the age of the internet now, so people could just say whatever, and it just gets out there. And with
totally.
So now you're
every restaurant business now, since I would say the last 5, 6, 7 years, it growed and growed, is a restaurant critic. Everybody who comes, every customer, because they make photos, stuff like this. And so you have to be like delivering every single time, because only the bad stuff sticks. That goes around, like, oh, I had the worst thing ever at Boll's restaurant, whatever, and then you have a bad evening, and then this has a very big impact in comparison to the 7 nights before where everything went smooth.
Yeah, so that's does that feel tiring for you? Like, 7 nights is great, and then it's the one thing you're like, come on.
Exactly.
And so now recently you're back, right, with filmmaking.
Yes.
So what is that, going back and forth, like, you feel like now's the time?
Yeah, I felt like 2016 when I did Rampage 3, that was the last film for 4.5, 5 years. And then I missed it, right? Then when COVID came and we closed the restaurant, and I felt, okay, so what's now? So, and I missed doing film. So I felt, okay, let's go back into a film production. And we developed various things, went out there, tried to pitch things. But First Shift in New York was the first new film I basically did in March in New York, like a police film, what plays in one day. And then you follow two police officers through that day where you have episodes, sad episodes, violent episodes, the mafia and all that stuff in 12 hours, basically. And I have another film in, hopefully we have cast soon and we can shoot that in South Africa, where a guy gets blackmailed because the family is kidnapped to kill 5 people or like in a short period of time. Otherwise his family is dead. And during he goes on the killing spree, he wants to find out like why, like what's happening. And for this film, it's like playing in Africa, because you need like this kind of exotic situation where you lose control. You cannot like go to your buddy and tell him everything or something. So and I'm looking forward to do that film. And I feel like when I'm watching a lot of product, and I think that the straight action films are rare now. You basically have this $250 million CGI, crazy Marvel, whatever, like this kind of world. And then you have a lot of this kind of arty drama. A lot of times a little boring, sad film, So, and where's the classical, like 100-minute good pop film?
Yeah, like an 80s action movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes, I miss this kind of films, where you also do practical everything. You're not like cheating with CGI, whatever. You just do the stunts and shootouts and stuff. So, and I want to do a little more of this genre for now. 2016, Blockbuster was finished. And it was this kind of like, with what you want to recoup your money, like what, but now you have so many streamers, and you can license only for a year, and then you make another 1 year later, you license it to somebody else. So there are now possibilities to make money with films in playing the streamers against each other, basically. And then saying, look, 1 year Amazon Prime and then 1 year Netflix, or whatever. So, but I think that is for an independent filmmaker a possibility. If they don't give you the money to make the film, then you still can do the film, but then you really have to divide the rights up and don't sell it for 10 years or something.
So keep it short window.
Yes.
Yeah. And with these new movies like crime drama and then action, later down the line, are you thinking about going back to like trying to adapt video games again, or is that like in the past?
No, I mean, I have two things. Like, I had Baldur's Gate at one point. I had Fear Effect. I had other properties that never made the film of because it fell apart and stuff. I went in contact to the new owners from BloodRayne, and they don't want the film. I don't know why, but I felt always BloodRayne, I did 3 parts, and I always moved 100 years forward from the first part and in the Wild West and in the Second World War. And I would love to do like a contemporary, like a modern BloodRayne film. I think it would also people would want to see that. So but they didn't agree to do a deal with me. But I felt like, look, guys, my films are in a way bigger as your game, so you should be happy if there's another film.
Yeah.
And I felt always of revisiting House of the Dead. Doing like a not a prequel or sequel, just a new one, like where you just say the new House of the Dead, basically. And I would love to do that too. yeah, a different kind of zombie movie. Since then, a lot of things happened in regards of zombie films, and like the Walking Dead series and stuff like this. And I mean, The Last of Us is kind of a zombie film.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
More
so
human
stuff.
drama.
Yeah, 28 Days Later was in between, and so much stuff. And it would be interesting to do a new House of the Dead with the technical possibilities of today's time.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah. So zombies. So yeah, because your love for zombies in the future, different take. So I'm gonna be like, all right, let's see what Uwe is gonna do with the next House of the Dead, and video game movies now. There's a lot now, right? Like you're in shows, Last of Us, and all that. So I want to go with a list of other movies, and I want to hear your thoughts on them. For example, Super Mario Brothers made over $1 billion, and so what are your thoughts on that?
A great family film. I was like, when we went in, that was for the kids, basically. I mean, for adults, I was 1 week ago, no, 2 weeks ago, we went to Guardians of the Galaxy. That is more a film I enjoy too, because it has, a little more humor for a PG-13, let's say it's this way, even if it's PG. Yeah, but I mean, great that it looked like it came at the right time for the whole world, because it made money everywhere. And I think it's good that it made so much money, because I think the studios also saw that there are not only comic book films. And I mean, who reads comics in today's time? Like, for real,
I'll say I do read comics, but yeah, others, yeah.
I have a real comic collection, and my kids never read reading them. They from time to time they're looking into it, but I have from Donald Duck, I had Lucky Luke, Superman, and so on, and they're not interested. They watch only the films.
Yeah,
they don't even know that they are based all on comic books. And I feel video games, of course, are more the modern day comics in a way, and they have also a more active film, like an active fan base as the comic books.
Oh yeah, the fan base for video games is very huge. And recently, like before the Super Mario Brothers animated movie, you have Sonic. So that one kind of helped push out like the mascots too, like Super Mario Nintendo, Sonic with Sega. So that one, thoughts on Sonic the Hedgehog, like that being successful?
Was good. I mean, that was also funny, right? So I think it had like a very good action too, in a way, but it was also well done, and it played very good. Like, we watched it actually in the movies, and then later also on a streamer. So it's a film you can watch twice or 3 times, so no, also very good. I mean, the quality went up overall on when they're coming out now with video game films, right? I think there was this time in between where Prince of Persia and World of Warcraft kind of sucked, to be honest. They were just huge disappointments, because I think they were the most expensive video game-based films ever made, and they were not good. They were just boring, and they were not like the fascination of the games never made it to the big screen. It felt kind of flat. And there was a time, I think, where the studios lost their face into video game-based films, didn't want to put a lot of money in. And now it's coming back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's like, I'm going to name like a bunch of movies coming out. I don't know if you can chime in whenever, like, that's going to be huge or whatnot. Like the Mortal Kombat 2, they're going to work on that because they had a reboot. They had Gran Turismo's coming out.
That would be interesting, actually, how this looks like. Yeah.
And Five Nights at Freddy's, that's going to come out soon. And then they're working on the Borderlands movie, and even Dead by Daylight horror movie. They're working on that. Ghost of Tsushima. That one, probably like one of my favorite games like recently, just open world, Japanese setting, samurai. So I can't wait to see that. And of course, they're working on a new Silent Hill movie.
Oh, a third one, basically.
Yeah.
I liked Silent Hill 1, you know, and no, there was a second Silent Hill, right? So
yeah.
and that I didn't like too much. But the first one, I think, catched the mood very good, the tense feeling what you have when you play the game. I think it was the sound effects and, you know, like this kind of like foggy atmosphere and stuff like this. I think that worked very well. And yeah, I remember I had Hitman. I was in the run to get Hitman from Eidos, and then they sold it to the French guys because I just did Dungeon Siege them with Jason Statham, and he would be perfect for Hitman.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and then they gave it to a French company, and they did Hitman with, who was the Hitman guy?
Was it a Timothy Oliphant?
Yeah, Timothy Oliphant, good actor, but for the character, I think Jason Statham would be better.
Oh yeah, because he's the more of the quiet, like strong type that Jason Statham's known for, compared to Timothy, where he's more of the like the other movies that he's been in. You don't think of him as the Agent 47, yeah. And,
exactly. I mean, he's more a character actor, right? So he can do like a slick guy in a way, but I didn't saw him as the Hitman. But they did it, and nothing I can change about it anymore. So
yeah.
I always wanted to do Grand Theft Auto, but they don't do a film. I think they're in a way clever that they don't do a film. Because sometimes it can hurt the game too.
Yeah.
If the film sucks, I think it can that people say, you know what? Now I'm also not playing the game anymore. So something like that.
Well, I don't think that, like, if it's a game is so good, right? Like, people still gonna play it. For example, the Warcraft movie, it still made money, but like a lot of people weren't like huge fans of it. But people are still gonna play Warcraft.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But where's Prince of Persia? Is that still big?
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what happened to Prince of Persia? And or let's say Assassin's Creed. They did an actual Assassin's Creed movie, and that, it's there, but people are still gonna play the games.
Yeah. That was. I didn't like that.
Yeah. So now, mindset, work on movies. Are you ever, let's say, stunts, come up with like different stunts on how to like promote them, or like another boxing match?
I mean, they invited me all to boxing matches. I did one in Spain. I did one in the Alamo Fest in Austin, and then I had to tell these festivals, guys, I'm not going on a world trip of boxing, so that is not the point to invite me. Only if I do a boxing fight. So I said no. I said no. Now it's over. I'm not doing that anymore. But I think I recently had an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, and the guy said the good thing is of me coming back. He said is that people know me. He said a lot of new days, the directors are mostly unknown people. Like nobody really knows the directors anymore of anything. And the name directors are all already a little older. Because you know them, whatever, Quentin Tarantino, of course, Spielberg, Scorsese, all that big names. And it shows for me a little this kind of where the industry shifted to. It's like the project is in the middle now.
Yeah.
It's a franchise. So the studios don't even want that somebody is too big on it, so that they can continue with the franchise. If the director is gone, nobody cares because they have no clue who directed it, for example. And for example, with James Gunn is one person too, who everybody knows.
Yeah.
He started with splatter kind of like horror stuff, and Slither and stuff. And now he's just like, for example, Guardians of the Galaxy, when they tried to throw him out, it didn't work. The whole thing was over without James Gunn. And I think it's good that he came back and that they made the third part. And I think that is important. I feel like they a little underestimate the power of a director and filmmaker, because you keep everything together and put your stamp on something. And I think that is the whole point of making a film as a filmmaker. If you just deliver something what everybody else and the producers trying only to get the same thing over and over again, and not the individual fingerprint of a director, that makes in total the movie industry weaker.
Yeah. And another good example of like having different directors and getting mixed reactions from the audience out there, like the new Star Wars films, where you have J.J. Abrams doing one, Rian Johnson doing another, and so it just kind of feels like it's like a different movie. So almost the end of the interview. So I want to like just ask you. Just like your legacy, what do you want people to get out of like the movies that you've been creating and all that?
I think for me the important thing was, and I did so many different genres. So I'm not like doing only this and this. I did drama, I did horror, and overall my biggest goal is to entertain. So I think you can do a comedy, you can do a horror film, whatever you do, it cannot be boring. That is my biggest goal always, to not like bore people. And then sometimes you put more in, like a Sound on Wall Street. I put a lot of political thinking in because of the 2008 mortgage crisis and stuff like this. And some things like Rampage or all the video game based films, they were just entertaining. So to tell a story so that you like exit your normal life and you're like focused on it. I trap myself always, when I'm looking at my phone the whole time watching something, I know it didn't get me, so, and that is the problem now, it's like, it's harder to concentrate yourself. But there are still shows, they grab you, and you don't even want to look at your phone, and you don't want to get disturbed because you're really in it. And that is my goal, to do films where the people don't change the channel and don't say after 20 minutes, I don't want to know how this ends. So, and I think so far I'm not bad in it, like even if people say whatever, Alone in the Dark, I hate it, whatever, but they all watched it till the end. When you talk to them, at least they watched it, right? So, and I think in today's time, a lot of films, even because of the streaming situation too, it's so easy to stop them. It's so easy to just say, no, I'm not doing it. And and I try to make at least the films people want to finish.
Okay, so and then the next film that's going to come out, first shift, right? Release date?
So this I don't know, in winter so we editing in LA right now, and I have Ethan Manikis editing it. He did Sin City, From Dusk Till Dawn, Machete, so very good editors on it. So it will be he's used to also like drive a film forward, right? So the Robert Rodriguez stuff is always fast told, and so we have a very good working relationship. And so that is, I think the film will be definitely not boring. It goes from A to B to C and moves forward. And then hopefully the 12 hours, a film to shoot in fall or winter. And so my plan is to do 1 or 2 films a year for the next few years. So to really see, okay, I'm back in the business, and and I was always somebody who can do the post-production when I'm already prepping the next film. So I'm used to multitask.
There you go. And then afterwards, all these movies come out, you can have the Boll universe, characters intersecting, crossovers.
Of course. BloodRayne goes against Farmer of Dungeon Siege. And of course.
All right. So that is it for the interview. And I just want to say it's been a pleasure chatting with you. And yeah, no, just yeah, filmmaking. I'm excited you're back just to see what you're gonna do, and
Good.
whether people is gonna embrace it or not. You know, you're back at it, and so I'm excited about that.
Very good. Thanks so much. Thank you.